First look at the forecast. Let's bring in weather specialist Noor Brafat.
Hey, thanks very much, Megan. Well, if you're feeling an Arctic chill in the air, you're certainly not imagining it. We've lost about 9 degrees the past 24 hours in the Toronto region, upwards of that amount London, Muskoka, into Buffalo, and that's because of that Arctic air that's taken over large parts of the province and really central and eastern Canada. And this is a time when we really should highlight the fact that the mercury doesn't tell the full picture. -9 in Toronto could feel closer to -14, and as you head to the east, it's into the low 20s in areas like Ottawa, just feeling like that a few hours ago in the Kingston region. So silver lining, if any, is that we've seen a lot of bright spots and certainly plenty of sunny breaks in the GTHA, extending all the way towards Huntsville and Bancroft with these sunny breaks. And I do hope you enjoy the last little bit of those clear skies as we head into this evening and into the overnight, because by tomorrow we're going to start to see that cloud cover move in very quickly, but we won't be seeing snow through much of southern Ontario until about the 4 or 5 o'clock mark. Here it is, heavy for large portions of the province and heading into parts of New York State as well. It won't be the last bit of snow that we'll see in the next 7 days, and we'll talk more about that in the full forecast. -12, your overnight low in Toronto. By tomorrow, already some relief from these very cold temperatures. You're high at around -2, but when you factor in the wind chill, once again, we're talking about that wind chill value in the afternoon, feeling closer to -8. Megan?
Thank you, Noor. The Toronto Raptors celebrated. We are joined at the desk now by our weather specialist, Noor Brafat. Noor, there's a bit of a chill in the air.
Yeah, a bit of a chill is certainly the word that I would use, Megan, and in fact it's a lot of a chill for many in central and eastern Canada. February opening with some freezing conditions. The good news is it's not going to be a trend for the entire next 7-day stretch, but the iffy news is that don't be surprised if the Arctic air makes 1 or 2 appearances through the course of the next several days. We'll expect to see some relief as early as tomorrow in the Toronto region. Your high climbing to the seasonal range of around -2. But again, you're going to get tired of me saying this, but the wind chill value makes all the difference. And tomorrow it's going to be around -8. So certainly big relief in comparison to what we saw today. And that relief will extend to other parts of the country as early as tomorrow. You can see the Arctic air, though, hasn't just singled out the Toronto region. It's almost swallowed Quebec in its entirety. Also northern parts of the prairies. Tomorrow, more relief for Ontario, specifically all the way up towards the northwestern side of things. But that's when the prairies start to take a hit, -23 and 22 in Saskatoon and Regina. And factor in the wind chill, and it's closer to the -mid-30s. Expect to see a messy range of conditions in the coming days. And that's as early as Sunday. So we'll start out cloudy in the GTHA. It'll be a snowy start, North Bay, Sault Ste. Marie, and Sudbury. By 3, 4 o'clock, here is that snow in southern Ontario, lingering towards the east as we head into the early evening. And Monday will be a dry start and a cloudy start as well until the afternoon rolls around. And watch what happens here. We've got a rain component in place, and that means, that's a hint rather, that we're going to see some milder conditions as early as Monday. Although for many, we'll flip-flop between mild and cold, and expecting those precipitation values at 10 centimeters or so in Owen Sound, around the 6 centimeter range in Kingston, Peterborough, Ottawa, 2 in Toronto. Expect to see a lot more of that cold in Fort Erie tonight. By tomorrow, +1 over there, still lingering in those minus double digits in Ottawa tomorrow, -8 in Muskoka, but around Wyerton, -4 degrees, and into Newmarket as well. Here we are, your next 7 days. The good news is when we do see the return of Arctic air in Toronto, it's going to bring those temperatures down to a seasonal range. So certainly nothing as cold as what we saw today, but we will see those temperatures climb as well above average, and that will be the case for your Monday and Thursday. Unfortunately, some messy weather to go along with that.
First look at the forecast. Let's bring in weather specialist Noor Brafat.
Hey, thanks very much, Megan. Well, quite the serene scene out there tonight on the Toronto Harbour for a number of reasons. Of course, you can't beat the city lights, but if you look closely, you can see the reflection in the frozen lake, and chilly but pretty that reflection is. -12 degrees just now outside the Toronto airport. Is it feeling like -12, though? No, it is not. We are looking at a brutal start to February with that Arctic air gripping large parts of Ontario and sending both the mercury and the wind chill plummeting in the span of hours. We've dipped about 11 degrees in the span of 24 hours in the Toronto region. A tad bit less than that around Windsor, Ottawa, Kingston, seeing similar conditions. And that's thanks to some Arctic air, as I mentioned, that has taken over the province. The silver lining, if any, a lot of sunshine today. So if you're a glass half full person like me, that was something to enjoy despite the cold conditions. Tomorrow, not a whole lot of sunshine. We're going to start to cloud over very quickly. A cloudy but dry start to your day in the GTHA. If you're around Muskoka, North Bay, Sudbury, Sault Ste. Marie, you'll see that heavy snow pretty early. But around other parts of southern, eastern Ontario, we'll expect that snow around 3-4 p.m. heavy, and it will be the start of a messy trend in the next few days, which will bring both flip-flopping temperatures and flip-flopping precipitation as well, and I'll keep that for the full forecast later on in the show. We're still down to -12 for your overnight in Toronto tomorrow. We're already going to start to see some relief when it comes to those temperatures, up to a seasonal -2 to -3. But once again, I will remind you to remember the wind chill, because that makes all the difference. And with that factored in, it may feel closer to -10 in the afternoon. Megan?
Thank you, Noor. A man has died after a fire. Joining me on the desk now is our very own weather specialist, Noor Rafat. Noor, it's pretty chilly out there.
Yeah, chilly to say the least, Megan. Bone chilling to say the most. Probably not the start of February that many were hoping for. It's the start that we're going to get. But the good news is that it won't be a 7-day trend. We're looking at relief in the forecast very soon. The not so great news is that don't be surprised if that Arctic air makes a comeback. Well, some much needed relief expected in the forecast. Tomorrow, your high up to a seasonal -2 degrees. Although we're hitting that late into the early into the evening, we are expecting those wind chill values to be near the -10 degree mark earlier into the afternoon. So do be mindful that, again, temperature doesn't tell the full story, and we do have periods of snow on the way. Arctic air, though, was a big conversation across large parts of the country. You can see it's taken over, really swallowed Quebec, Labrador, pushing into northeastern USA and northern parts of the prairies. Watch what happens tomorrow right here. There's relief in Toronto, in Thunder Bay, but now we're starting to see the prairies take a hit. Those temperatures into the -20s, but again, factoring in the wind chill, feeling closer to -40. I'm sure you're going to be bored of me saying that, but it's important to note what that wind chill does to the temperature. We are expecting that messy weather, as I mentioned, early in the morning for parts of Muskoka, North Bay, and then later on in the afternoon, southwestern Ontario first starting to roll east hour by hour. Monday, another round, but this one packing not just snow but rain in the forecast as well, and some mixing involved. You can see it in that pink line around the Toronto region, Oshawa into Whitby and Cobourg as well, and that will be a messy one, especially with the strong winds that we're expecting along with that heavy snow and rain. We will be able to see potentially some lake-enhanced snow squalls, very brief for your Tuesday afternoon in southwestern Ontario. Some of that could bring some flurries to the Toronto region by the late afternoon, but not expecting a whole lot of accumulation when it comes to Tuesday. For Monday, though, and Sunday, 7 centimeters potentially for the Toronto region, 8 as you head towards Owen Sound, 9 into Sault Ste. Marie. And once again, we are starting to see that Arctic air move out of the province by tomorrow. Still a cold one in Ottawa at -11, +1 in Windsor. For our friends in Milton, -4, Hamilton, Bradford, -3 degrees, and into Cobourg, -2 degrees. Here we are looking at temperatures climbing and dwindling and climbing and dwindling. And once you see sunshine, make sure you enjoy it, because it will be gone the next day. So +3 for the start of your work week, -2 by Tuesday. Watch out for some slippery surfaces as well, thanks to that hard freeze heading into the weekend. Temperatures close to seasonal, or rather right on par with seasonal, with some cloudy conditions.
The Toronto Maple Leafs opened up a 4-game road